As I'm farming for Paragon level 1300, I'm thinking about my next class. As some of you may remember, I said that I would change my class after reaching this level, and as you can see, I'm getting close to it. Today we received the patch notes for the next update, which revealed the new batch of legendary item affixes. We are going to take a look at those, and hopefully by the end of the video, I will decide on my new class. By the way, if you want to check out all of the new essences, I will leave the link in the description because I'm not going to talk about all of the classes. I will choose my next class between Blood Knight, Demon Hunter, and Necromancer. I'm not interested in playing other classes for now, so let's take a look at the Blood Knight essences. First, we have the new legendary weapon for Blood Knight, which is just another essence from my understanding. For Blood Knight, they are going to add an essence called Greeting Shade. Shroud of Night now grants you and nearby allies echoing strikes, causing your next several primary attacks to conjure a shadowy apparition to copy the attack. I think this is not going to be used in PvP builds, so there is no need to talk about it since I'm going to choose the class based on the PvP essences. Actually, let's just talk about the ones that can be used in those builds so we don't waste any time. I think the best essence from this patch is this new main hand essence called Carmine Advance. Skewer now causes you to dash forward, damaging and dragging enemies along your path, immobilizing them at your destination. Enemies struck by Skewer while immobilized will be stunned. I think this will give us at least 2 dashes, so when it's used right, we should be able to stun our targets. Which sounds really good. With Blood Knight, our main focus is enemy backlines, so this should be helpful for that. Other than this one, new pants essence called Silenced Screams might replace the poison and healing pants. Swarm of Bats also causes enemies hit to languish in pain, increasing the chances of being critically hit. This will work pretty well with the Solemn Snare Shoulders essence we use in our tanky build. And finally, there is a new Shoulders essence called Bramble Nest. I'm pretty sure I will stick with Solemn Snare, but this might be better depending on the damage it deals. Swarm of Bats now unleashes a crimson tide of bats that wash through enemies, dealing damage and causing them to bleed. The bats will frenzy and latch onto already bleeding enemies, dealing additional damage over time while also slowing them. Like I said, this can be good, but Solemn Snare will be the better option for most of the players. I think these essences will be used in PvP builds for sure, others might be used depending on the build, but I can't really say much before actually testing them. So that's all for Blood Knight. I can't lie, these are looking really good, and this class might be my next. Now let's check out Demon Hunter. This Shoulders essence called Titan's Snare from new Demon Hunter essences catches my attention right away. Daring Swing now empowers your primary attacks to fire a binding rope that ricochets between enemies, immobilizing them. This sounds really good because Daring Swing was lacking a good Shoulders essence, and with this one, Demon Hunters are getting a decent control effect. Other than this, there is a main hand essence called Fang Spitter. Multi-shot now empowers your primary attacks to fire multi-shots for a short time. This one just sounds good and can be used with the old Demon Hunter builds, and this offhand called Pain Sour can be great with the Summoner builds. Strafe now fires your primary attacks focused on the nearest enemy. This can be better than the random attacking strafe, but obviously we need to test it first. The rest of the essences mostly buff certain skills, so I'm not going to talk about them, but they can be used for PvP depending on your build. So from Demon Hunter essences, only the Shoulders essence makes me excited. And I'm not sure to switch to this class first just to test out that essence. So Blood Knight still has the lead for me. Now let's move on to Necromancer. For Necromancer, there are some decent ones to use like this Shoulders essence called Incision Cusp. While Bone Armor is active, it also increases your critical hit damage. This can work with the Corpse Lance build, but you might have to give up borrowed time depending on the build. By the way, these are just the ideas that come to my mind right away, and of course you can come up with completely new builds to utilize all of these builds. And there is a pants essence called Bleak Augury. Wraith form now increases your movement speed, allowing you to move unhindered through enemies and generate corpses when you pass through them. This can be used, but I think you should craft a build around it. Otherwise, we already have pretty strong pants essences for Necromancer. Next, we have this helmet essence called Gravehawk. Corpse Lance deals increased damage each time it strikes the same target within 2 seconds, up to a maximum. Well, I guess they forgot to add this part, we don't know how high it goes. If it is something good, this can be used with the current Corpse Lance build instead of the damage over time essence. Lastly, I want to mention this chest essence called Unfilled Grave. Bone armor now consumes nearby corpses, increasing damage you deal and reducing the damage you take for each corpse consumed. I can see people using this essence in PvP builds as well. So, out of these 3 classes, it looks like Necromancer has the most essences that can be used in PvP builds. But I don't really want to play Necromancer since I just played it for a long time a few weeks ago. Well, I think I made my mind. And I will change my class to Blood Knight when the patch goes live. I kept my chest essence reward from Battle Pass and I'm pretty close to getting the loyalty reward, so I will get that main hand essence for Skewer right away. You can expect a video about that essence when the page goes live, and I will be streaming as a Blood Knight that day as well. I think that's all for this one. Thank you for listening to me through this, and don't forget to leave a like on the video if you enjoyed this discussion. Take care.